Hello, welcome everyone. We are live, and today I am featuring an amazing guest, Diane Ladd. Her handle and YouTube channel is Boston Carnivore Diane Ladd, which is linked down below in the description box and also on screen. And I want us all to welcome Diane because she is going to be sharing an incredible story of healing MS. So, Diane, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Thank you, Bella. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Like you said, my name is Diane Ladd, and my channel is Boston Carnivore Diane Ladd. And I live in Boston, like my name says. And yeah.
I love it. So, my first question is the same for all of my guests. How did you stumble across the carnivore diet?
Thank you for asking that. So it's interesting, the time in my life when I came across it, I was really searching for it. I was looking for something because I was very, very sick. I had been diagnosed with MS for 9 years at that point, 8 or 9 years, and it was getting worse. I was becoming more and more sick.
Mm.
I was I had to give up my practice. I'm a mental health therapist, and I had to give up my practice because working was very, very difficult. And
Mm.
I was trying to find, I knew for some reason, I knew that diet was important and that it would help. Although my doctor said, yeah, diet will make you feel better, but it's not going to cure MS because there is no cure for MS. But
Yeah.
I still was searching for that. And I was reading studies, I was reading books, I was looking for something. And what was happening to me is that I was having more difficulty reading. When you have MS, you have this condition that's attached to it called INO. That's actually how I was diagnosed. And what it means is that your eyes don't line up together. And so when I was reading, I was skipping lines. I was having a hard time comprehending what I was reading. So I put the books away for a minute and I opened YouTube. And lo and
Mm.
behold, I found the carnivore diet on YouTube. And, I thought about it. I said, no, this can't be. This is crazy. I can't do that. Because at the time, I was eating lots of vegetables, I was eating lots of fruit. I had a very, very healthy diet, according
Mhm.
to then, what I knew then, right? So I was eating just lean meats and fruits and vegetables, and everyone kind of was like, wow, you're eating healthy. I was kind of known for that always. So still, eating a healthy diet didn't help. So then I'm thinking of carnivore. And I'm like, well, it sounds crazy, but I'm eating healthy and it's not helping. So
Mm.
maybe I should give it a try. Maybe, but Bella, that took 3 months of going
Wow.
back and forth and contemplating on what I should do. So when people say to me, when they give you that look, when you say, well, I only eat meat, and they kind of give you the side eye, I
Mm-hmm.
know exactly where they're coming from because I was there too.
Mm.
So it did. It took me 3 months from the time I heard it, watching my first video, rejecting it, going back
Mm.
to it. It started making more sense. But then it didn't, so I went back and forth for 3 months, and it was March 5th. So my carnivorsary is next week, March 5th, 1 year. Yeah.
Wow.
So it took almost 3 months to jump in. And I had been doing keto. I had been doing very, very low carbohydrate, um, higher protein. So jumping
Got it.
into it wasn't that difficult.
Mm. Now, when you say it took you 3 months to commit and actually do carnivore, could you list what exactly was in the way of you jumping right into carnivore? How come it took 3 months? Was it sugar craving? Mindset.
My
Yeah.
mind, my mind could not wrap around the idea of
Mm.
only eating meat. I couldn't, I just couldn't get over it. And, you know, no one else was telling me this. It was my own mind and putting myself in scenarios like, okay, so I go over to my friend's house and she has dinner. What do I
Mhm.
do? You know, that was me. That was my own mindset that blocked me. But
Got
it
it.
wasn't only that. It was like, this isn't nutritious. That's not what I learned. I mean, I think a lot of it now that I've been doing this for a year, Bella, and I've been looking at it and I've been talking to people and I've been, being a mental health therapist, I come at it from a mindset perspective, right? So
Mm.
I understand why a lot of people are having a hard time jumping in. It's not an easy thing. Food is culture, food
Yes.
is family, food is love, food is sustenance. Food is so much. It's not just calories, it's not
Mhm.
just what we eat. There is so much that is tied into this that for somebody to just switch their diet,
Mm.
it can't happen. Not every time, right? So
Yeah.
you've got to. So I developed this 5 steps to carnivore mindset since then. So this is kind of what I'm talking about now. So the first step is carnivore is crazy. We've all been there, right?
Yes.
We've all heard
Absolutely.
it.
Yes.
So the first is like, okay, back up.
Right. Exactly.
Carnivore is crazy. And
Mhm.
I still hear it. I still hear other people who are long-term carnivores that say, people think it's crazy. So that
Mm.
word, and I don't use that word derogatory in any way, shape, or form. I just want you to know that's
Sure.
not a word that I use, but
Of
that's a
course.
word that people use for carnivore. So that's the first step. And that's not really a step because you're not moving forward. You're just kind of staying where you are. It's kind of where you are.
Mm. I love
So,
it.
yeah.
So let's circle back to your MS healing. You got a
Yeah.
diagnosis that basically said this is not curable.
Right.
Yet today you are saying that you feel like you cured it. Are
Yes.
you still struggling with any of the symptoms of MS?
I say it's nearly 100% um, of my symptoms are they're not, they don't exist.
Mm.
So when I tax my body, yes, I still get a little tired. Nothing. I mean, tired and fatigue are two different things. For if you've never had fatigue, it's a whole different ball game. It's feeling as that though you have the flu 24/7. You wake up
Oh,
tired, you go to bed
wow.
tired, you go through the whole day tired. But it's a overwhelming feeling of someone like putting their hands on your shoulders and pushing you down so that you can't move. You're not just walking, you're walking through jello. You're walking through like against the tide. If you're in a river, you're walking against the tide. Everything is difficult, everything is hard. And
Mm.
when you have MS and you have heavy fatigue, you're dealing with this all the time,
Mhm.
24/7. And it comes on it came on, in 2016 I was diagnosed and I had it, right? But in 2022 is when
Mhm.
it just like came on really, really strong.
Mm.
And that's when I had to close my practice. I didn't have enough energy to make it through the day. And so fatigue was one of the symptoms that was the most important thing for me to alleviate in some way. And I never expected it to go away. And it went away. After 3 weeks, it had lessened like unbelievable. I woke up one day and the sun was brighter and it was easier to walk, it was easier to think because when you have that extreme fatigue,
Mhm.
cognitively, it's hard to think. You have the brain fog that comes along with it. So it's the fatigue coupled with the brain fog
Right.
um, that just makes life so much harder.
Wow. What do you think it was about the carnivore diet that helped with the fatigue and the brain fog?
It's funny because I think about this all the time. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
So there is some science that's coming out now talking about this, and it's being in ketosis actually heals the brain. So when you're, I don't know how much detail I want to get into, but when you're eating a sugar-based diet, sugar, carbohydrates, your brain actually becomes insulin resistant. They're finding this out, and they're linking to this to things like Alzheimer's, with Parkinson's,
Mm.
with all kinds of brain diseases
Mhm.
that they thought were brain diseases, but they're really it's really metabolic dysfunction. So I've been starting to read some studies that talk about this this being in ketosis gives the brain nourishment that it needs, that it's not getting through the sugar pathway, because the brain is becoming insulin resistant. It's resisting the fuel. So
Mhm.
when your brain is not being fueled, your body's not being fueled,
Mhm.
the fatigue can come on real strong because you're essentially starving your brain. So when you go into ketosis, you give the brain what it needs, and the brain is nourished, and the brain wakes up. So I don't know if it's that. That's what I heard. And also, Bella, your brain is made out of 60% fat and
That's what
cholesterol. You're not
exactly.
eating fat and cholesterol. How the heck are you repairing your brain?
Yep, I
So that
agree.
was another thought. So there's so many things. I mean, they don't know. They're still studying this. I'm in a study with Dr. Chafee. Dr. Chafee is doing an MS study. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not allowed to say who I am in the study, but I don't know who I am because I'm going to have like a pseudonym. Like he'll say, "You are this person." I'm like,
G
"Okay,
g
I won't tell
got
anyone."
it.
But there are 12 people in the study, and he's studying the effect of the carnivore diet on MS. And he's looking at things like symptomology, also the lesions in the brain, so which I can tell you more about that. Is
Mhm.
when you have MS, you're given an MRI once every year or once every 2 years once you get established. And on the MRI, they see these little white spots called lesions. And that's how
Ye
they know that MS exists. And what happens is when your brain, um, the brain cells have this coating. If you want to imagine a wire, and the plastic coating on the wire is if it's intact, the wire can send messages through that wire, right? So it's
Mhm.
the same thing. Like the brain cell has an axon, which is like a wire, and
Mhm.
around the outside is a myelin sheath, and the myelin sheath protects that and allows one cell to communicate to the other cell all the way across the body. And what happens with MS is that myelin sheath, that plastic coating, gets frayed, and
I
it does
see.
not get repaired. So when
Mhm.
that happens, the cell dies. And when you have cell death, you have lesions on an MRI, and that they can see that. And that's how it's diagnosed, when they see the lesions on the MRI. So,
Wow.
so that's one thing that Dr. Chafee is going to be looking at. He's going to be looking at how many lesions do people have, and
Mhm.
are they still the same? Are they improving? Which thought is, no, these things never improve. But Dr. Chafee told me himself that he's seeing a little bit of improvement on some of these things. Not
Wow.
me personally, um,
Yeah.
but he has seen improvement on MRIs.
Amazing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if those cells that ended up dying were recreated after going carnivore.
Well, the brain has a tremendous plasticity. So your
Mhm.
brain is not, the amount of cells that you have and what your cells are doing are not written in stone. They
Mhm.
used to think that once someone grew up, once someone was an adult, that their brain was their brain. But now
Yeah.
they're finding that our brain has a plasticity to it, and we are able to build new neural pathways with these little cells,
Mhm.
new neural networks, like all the cells like working together for a function. For instance, like a neural network, say, do you ride a bike, Bella?
I do.
Okay. So when you were a little girl and you were learning how to ride a bike, do you remember how
Yeah.
difficult that was? You
Very
had to
scary.
You had to put your hands on the handlebars and your feet on the pedals, and whoever was teaching you told you had to put your foot down and then the other foot down. You had to turn this way and that way. Everything was so like you had to focus on every single thing that you did, right?
Mm,
So after a while, you learned how to do this. It became second nature. And then if you take an adult who learned to ride a bike as a child and you say, that the person said, I haven't ridden my bike in 10 years. They say, well, get on a bike and ride. They know how to ride because this muscle memory, it all starts in the brain with the cells, the neural networks in your brain that work together to
yeah.
create this activity. And you have this. You have this when you're 5 years old that you were learning. And if you're 25 years old, you still know how to ride a bike because this neural network got established and it's still together. So the brain is just amazing. And they used to think that was just in childhood, but now they know that people who are older can learn things. And we develop, you learn a dance step that becomes a neural network. Anything physical, anything mental,
Yeah.
it becomes a thought, it becomes a memory, it becomes an action that you know how to do.
Hmm.
So with MS, when you have disability, that neural network gets disrupted so that there is a lesion in the place where you've known how to walk since you were a year old, right?
Yes.
So if you've got a lesion that is blocking that area in the brain or the spinal cord, um,
Hmm.
and it prevents you from walking, that ability is taken away from you. That But this is the cool part. This is the really, really cool part. So I'm finding that my brain is just I can think so much better. The brain fog is going away, all of
Wow.
this. However, my last MRI said the lesions are still the same. I
Wow.
really think that my brain has rerouted around the damage that has developed new neural networks in
Mm.
my brain to do some of the activities that were perhaps lost a little bit when I was feeling so ill.
Oh my
So,
gosh, that is incredible.
yeah.
Because speaking to you, and then look, guys, I met Diane in person in Tampa. So she came up to me and she was so full of life and so full of energy. The way that you speak with such conviction and eloquence. And as you are doing here on this interview, I would not know that you ever had MS, and I know how crippling and debilitating it can be for a lot of people.
Yeah,
So,
so and
yeah.
that time, that fall, when I was feeling that downturn, it was
Mhm.
really, really difficult for me because, I mean, we're talking here, you see how much I love to communicate with you
Yes,
and with people.
really.
I would start a sentence at that time, and I could not finish it because
Wow.
I didn't know where I was going with it. By the middle of it, or maybe after the second sentence, it was like, that's too hard. I just I like kind of gave up,
Mm,
that was one thing. So it was the cognitive ability. But when I first was diagnosed with MS,
mhm.
the first symptom I had was a speech problem that
Oh,
I would go to speak and my tongue and my lips would not form the words right away. And I would kind of slur at the beginning, which was pretty embarrassing. At the time, I was going for my master's degree for social work.
mhm.
And, it was at the end of my schooling, and I'd go to raise my hand because I was that annoying person in the back of the room that would always raise the hand. And I would go to speak and it wouldn't come out correctly. And it was
Wow.
just so frustrating, and I ended up going up to the professors and saying, "Listen, I'm not drinking. I'm not, nothing like that is happening. I have no idea why this is happening, and I'm going to a doctor and, I'm trying to figure
Mhm,
out what's going on, but I'm not gonna stop talking, and I'm sorry
mhm.
that if it doesn't come out right at the beginning, but just give me a minute, please." So, um, I did kind of, make it clear to them that, and I did it for myself too because I was older and I was going back to school as an adult, and I
Mhm.
wanted to get the full experience out of it. I wasn't going to just stop doing it. I wasn't going to
Mhm.
stop speaking, you know?
Wow.
So,
Wow. Well, your persistence is very admirable. Did you have to go through any speech training to bring it back to where it is now ever?
no. So I was diagnosed with, it's called relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, RRMS, which means that you can have a symptom that can come on pretty strong, and
Mm,
they call that a relapse, and then it remits, it goes back.
mm,
And and I really think it's because of that whole the brain rewiring thing. That's my theory, that when you have a relapse, excuse me, say it was like that speech thing where my
mhm,
lips kind of felt a little numb, my tongue felt a
mm,
little numb, and it got bad. And then after some time, after I don't know, it was a couple months, it kind of remitted a little bit. It kind of went backwards.
mhm,
And it never really went away, because when I got stressed out or when I was tired, it would come back again. But it's called RRMS, relapsing remitting. So every symptom was like that. You'd get it strong, it would stay with you for a little while, and then it would go backwards. And then, but then you have a little bit of like this speech thing that kind of lingers on.
mhm.
Then you get another symptom, like this extreme dizziness,
Oh,
unbalanced dizziness that comes on really, really strong. And you've got a little bit of a speech thing going on. So you got those two things, and then that kind of remits. So everything that you get, they say relapsing remit, it doesn't remit all the way. You still have it a little bit. It's like a little underlying thing that occurs.
got it. Wow. I still can't believe that you struggled that hard because again, just seeing you on screen and in person, you come off like you were never sick ever. You're so healthy looking and you're so full of vitality. So, I have one more follow-up question and then I will let all the live stream viewers ask Diane any questions you would like to ask. If you guys are struggling with carnivore, we usually do Friday night live streams to help you guys troubleshoot. But for those who are struggling with things similar to maybe what Diane healed, and Diane is an expert on mindset. So if you're struggling with mindset, ask away and I'll get to your questions in a couple minutes. So my follow up is whenever I hear about people healing MS with carnivore, typically they have to keep it real clean. They have to
Yeah.
restrict actually to almost a pure lion diet approach,
Mm.
which is beef salt water, beef lamb salt water. Did you have to do that?
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. At first I didn't. At first I was restricting. So I decided to, have chicken, fish, beef, whatever. And I had cheese as well. And then I found when I ate cheese, it really bothered me. So I stopped the cheese.
mhm,
Then I started restricting more and more and ended up lying. So I've been lying for some time now. And every once in a while, I'll have a piece of chicken or a piece of fish. Um, I was eating eggs, then I wasn't eating eggs. And it's so funny because you hear things that other people do, like this egg fast that has become very popular. And it was just this week that I said, maybe I'll try an egg fast and see how that works.
yeah.
And I tried it, which I know it works for a lot of people. However, I just have to say that it did bring symptoms on. Even 1 year in this game, had eggs for breakfast and then I had eggs for lunch, and I did not feel well in the afternoon. I started to get a little bit frightened and said,
Mm,
"Okay, let's just not do that." And so I went back to beef, and beef really it makes me feel good eating beef. I can't, and I think that if I make chicken wings for my husband and I have a chicken wing, I'm okay, like having a small chicken wing, but not to have like a whole day of chicken, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I couldn't do that.
okay.
So I think that if I have anything but meat, I'm finding that it has to be small, maybe in addition to like have an egg with my steak or, have a little something. And I do eat butter as well. So
Great.
I find that works for me.
And how many meals a day do you typically eat?
Recently, I've been eating 3. For a while, I was eating 2. I did OMAD as well for, some time, um, intermittently.
Got it.
Um, but recently, I've been feeling like I need to eat 3 meals a day, so I'm kind of listening to my body on that. I plan on perhaps doing some intermittent fasting in the future. I love doing that. Um, so it's
Perfect.
just I just kinda listen to what I need and follow that.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for sharing your story, Diane. If you're ready, I will put up some questions from the viewers
Okay.
and we can go ahead and help. Okay. Thank you. All right. This is from Phil. What has your MS specialist and neurologist said about your diet and your recovery?
Thank you, Phil. What a good question. This is a good one. So I went, in December for my regular 6-month checkup, and, I'm always very cautious because, sometimes you don't have a good experience. I didn't have a good experience with my PCP back in April. So, I kinda geared myself up for this appointment, and, so those of you who go to, a neurologist for MS know this. You go in and you have a sobriety test. So they have you touch your nose with each finger. They have you stand up and they try to kind of push you over a little bit and see if you're gonna fall over. They have you look up and close your eyes, and then they do like they test your reflexes to see how that's going. So it's a very comprehensive clinical exam. And as she's doing this, I said to her, I'm like, okay, how am I going to say this? I said, so, you've been my doctor for 8 years, and I really respect you. And I know that you're a very intelligent woman, and that you've kept me healthy this far, and you know the medication, and you've switched my medication several times, and everything has been working out well, and I am mobile and I am grateful. I have to tell you what I have been doing over the past 10 months and what has happened to my body, and I would love it if you could listen to me. And she just kind of stopped and she's like, okay. And I said, so I've been following the carnivore diet, and what that is a ketogenic therapeutic diet that is strict carbohydrates. And I gave her a little bit of the details on that. And I told her what I was eating, and I told her what I was finding, that after 3 weeks, my fatigue lessened considerably. After 3 months, my Uthoff syndrome, which I can get into later and tell you guys what that is, um, disappeared. That I was feeling less brain fog daily. And today, after 10 months, I could say that I don't have brain fog anymore. And she just stopped and looked at me, and we're still doing the exam. So this was the part of the exam that I don't like, where she has you go heel to toe, one step in front of the other. And
Hmm.
usually when I do that, my balance isn't good, and I'm kind of like, I could do 3 steps, that's it. Lot of difficulty.
Mhm.
This day in December, I did heel to toe all the way across the room,
Great.
and she just stopped. After she's seeing what she's seeing, I'm, like, acing the exam, and she sat down on her computer, she opened it up, and she sat for a minute, and she turned to me and she said, "What do you wanna do?" Never asked me that question before. Usually it's like, "Okay, let's
Oh.
schedule your infusion, let's schedule your MRI, let's,
Mm.
schedule your next appointment." And I was just so shocked. I said, "About what?" She said, "Well, do you want to take your Ocrevus infusion?" And I paused and said, "Well, could we reassess in 6 months?" And she said, "Absolutely." She goes, "Everything is looking really good, and I see no problem in reassessing in 6 months, but I really would like you to have the MRI, and I would like you to make an appointment with me for the next, 6 months."
Wow.
And I w Bella, I was in shock. This was like, going into these appointments for 9 years was like the most depressing thing, is like going in and then you have to schedule, schedule it being in the hospital for a day with an IV in your arm, and
Mm.
the medication that you're getting is ruining your immune system. It's like
Mhm.
lowering your immune system so that the MS doesn't attack your immune system. But in the season that we've been in with COVID and all these things that are coming up, it's been very stressful not having an immune system like everyone else's,
Of course.
So I was I was very emotional when I left the office, and my husband didn't come with me, but I called him when I left the office, and I just told him the story, and he couldn't believe it either. It was just like it was a dream come true. It was better than anything. And I have to tell you, if I do happen to get a relapse, I will be on that medication. I'm not anti-medication.
Mhm.
Whatever it takes to keep me going strong, whatever it takes to keep me healthy. And I do not recommend anyone who has MS to just willy-nilly go off their medication, because that medication is keeping your brain good. It's keeping your spinal cord good. And I'm very grateful that I had it. But I'm telling you, Carnivore is healing me more than I've been healed over the past 10 years.
Wow. What an emotional story. Do you offer guidance for those who are trying to heal and improve symptoms of MS? Do you offer guidance?
I haven't as of yet, but this has been my plan, Bella. This is what I
Good.
want to do, because when this happened and I had this healing, and I'll call it a healing, and I know I still have diagnosed MS. So I'm not delusional. I know that I still have it, but I know what I feel like, and I feel good. I can go back to work. I can go back to work and be a behavioral health, mental health therapist. I could go back to do that. However, if I do that, I cannot, as a mental health therapist, recommend a diet. I cannot talk to someone. That wouldn't be my role, right?
Got it.
Insurance would not pay me to do that.
Right, right, right.
So I am feeling as though that my role in life is shifting, and I cannot in good faith just go back to my life without telling people what is going on here. Like
Yeah,
I see someone, I just feel like so guilty, and I don't know if you feel the same way. Like if you see someone who's ill, and or someone that is struggling in some way, that that Carnivore could help them, like to
every
keep
day.
my mouth shut is very difficult, because like I
I know.
want to help people. So
Yes.
if I can be in a role where I could do that, um I think that I would be very happy doing that. It has This is you're catching me at the beginning here, Bella.
I love catching you at the beginning. This is what I'm passionate
This is
about.
because as of a few months ago, I was not well enough to talk to you like this.
Wow.
I couldn't do this. This is like brand new for me.
Wow. You're such a natural to me though. Like, oh my gosh. I am so impressed that this is just the beginning for you because so one of my biggest passions after starting my YouTube channel about carnivore diet and my own journey, and this was like about 4 years ago. Now, one of my passions is to honestly encourage people to start their YouTube channels, to do things that will for sure help people out, spread the word or coaching or guidance. And
Right.
that's seriously one of my passions now. And when I hear stories like yours, I always ask, okay, well, are you coaching? Are you guiding people already? Because you would be able to help so many people currently stuck with
Right.
how am I going to improve my MS, my life, my health? I can't even function.
So it's
And
amazing, because this is what I was a coach. I coached people with ADHD on how to, plan and to function and to do that. And then I went into I got my master's degree in social work and my
yeah,
licensed independent clinical social worker. So I was a counselor. So I counseled people, like 8 people a day on a daily basis, on
yeah,
mental health issues and depression and anxiety and all these things. Um, so, I mean, this is just a natural place for me to be. Like, I know I don't want to go back to um, taking insurance.
Mm.
That whole thing is very difficult to because you write a note and you have to prove what you're doing in session is compliant with what the insurance wants you to do, right? So for me to say, have you tried carnivore diet? For
Mm.
someone with severe depression, like someone
Mhm.
with severe depression, right? You know that this person will
Yeah.
find relief from their severe depression with a carnivore diet.
Yeah.
But my hands would be tied to
Wow.
be able to talk to them about it. I would just have to talk about the depression and how the depression affects them.
Oh my gosh. So you can't, like, slip it in after the session is
You
over?
can slip it in, you can send them a note.
Right. Oh, wow.
Just say, "Shh."
Yeah,
I think
totally.
that's why doctors don't talk to us about it, because
Mm,
they too have to comply with what the insurance tells
I
them
understand.
to do, and they've got these check boxes that they've got to go through, and carnivore is not on the checkbox.
Mm-mm. Diet is usually not even on the checkbox,
Well, they don't
nutrition.
have any training in diet either.
Right.
So basically they tell you to eat the Mediterranean diet is what they tell you. That is like the new thing that the doctors tell you. Yes. Which really you can't define. What is that? Right?
Yeah, what is
Do you
it?
just eat olives? What do you do? A little bruschetta? Like
Yeah,
what is that?
so vague. Totally. Well, I did wanna just bring up to everyone watching this video right now, Diane has a YouTube channel. And so Diane's passion and motivation to keep spreading the word, share her story, and eventually help people with MS as well. She's doing it right now by posting videos on YouTube, coming to my channel. Thank you, by the way, to share her
Thank you.
story. Absolutely, with all of you. And so, how can we support each other, especially new content creators, new carnivores coming up on YouTube and trying to spread the word? We help by engaging. So, this is how YouTube works. I do recommend you all click Diane's YouTube channel, click subscribe, and have her on your go to playlist. Watch her videos, comment, like, share, engage. This is how we can get Team Meat to be stronger, to spread the word about carnivore diet, is to engage the way that you guys are engaging in the live chat as well. So please don't forget to hit like on this live stream. It really does help with the algorithm and engagement. Okay, so after this live stream is over, do us a favor and go over to Diane's channel, engage over there as well. Thank you, community. All right, we have a lot of
You, Bella.
questions piling up here.
Okay.
Absolutely. This one, Ruby's really struggling. She's from Australia. She says, I'm at a breaking point. I cannot deal with my severe mental health and gut issues, along with my binge eating disorder. Carnivore is the only way. Any tips and advice for Ruby?
Thank you, Ruby. This is big. This is huge. So when I worked in a mental health clinic, I would see severe mental health disorders coupled with gut issues. So much to the fact, and it was before I knew anything about carnivore. It was I was doing a keto diet, but I was taking note of it, and I actually 1 week wrote it down because there was so many people that were having IBS problems, Crohn's disease, all kinds of problems along with mental health disorder. It is just so very common.
Mhm.
Um, and binge eating disorder, I say that carnivore cured my binge eating disorder. Carnivore cured my yo-yo
Yeah,
dieting. Everything is right. Everything is steady.
absolutely.
Everything stays steady. The weight stays steady. The hunger stays steady. So carnivore has been the only thing that has helped me in that regard. Um, Ruby, I wish so. Carnivore is the only way. So you are following the carnivore diet.
She is.
Okay, so congratulations with that. And I'm wondering, what is the breaking point? So I am at a breaking point.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm
so I'm
curious.
wondering what's going on with that.
Mhm.
If you could tell us,
Give us some
I'd
more
appreciate
details.
it.
Yeah, we can circle back to Ruby. If you're still
Okay.
watching, Ruby, give us some more details. What do you mean by you're at a breaking point? And we can circle back. Great. This is Carrie. Hi, Diane. Great personal story. Did you or do you fast?
Not recently, but I have fasted. I actually followed Mindy Pelz for a little while. She did some
Yeah, she's great.
fasting things. Yeah, she's great. And I did a 3-day fast as my jumping off point. I wouldn't recommend that. I would
Wow.
I would recommend doing like a 16, 18-hour fast and maybe doing 2 meals a day, try to condense your meals little by little rather than, doing a 24-hour fast. But yeah, I have done fast and I plan on doing more of them. But like I said, right now I'm feeling like I need to eat 3 times a day. So that's what I'm
Mm,
doing. But I plan on, and perhaps I'm kind of feasting right now to get myself prepared
great.
for
Love
that.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We see a lot of success with people first upping the nourishment because if your tank isn't full and very nourished, it's going to be quite difficult to fast anything beyond one meal a day, even. And even just doing one meal a day for a lot of women is a bit risky because you can risk under eating.
So I think that for years what I did is a lot of restrictive eating. So
Mhm.
I would always be on these diets where, just eating a little bit, pushing the food away, just having a lot of emotion with it, a lot of feelings of I can't eat, I shouldn't eat, that type of thing. And I think
Right.
that when you are doing that, when you are restricting your food, to go and fast is difficult because it brings back all of those old feelings of um, you know not having the nourishment. So it's not only it's huge physical um, problems, but I think it's a psychological issue too with a lot of women that we are always taught that we don't
Absolutely.
deserve to eat, we don't deserve to take up space, we don't deserve to be in that. Even seeing a woman eating, I love how you eat meat on camera. I love that
Thank
so
you.
much because I think even eating meat, like women are supposed to eat salads, right? We're supposed to eat very small little bites, not
Yep.
take up a
Move
lot of
more, eat
space.
less.
And then
That's
you see
right.
Bella with this big bone. I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to show, not tell, by just showing how much I eat and how proudly and happy I am eating these plates of meat because you
Fabulous.
just shouldn't be ashamed ever. And
No.
yeah,
Yeah, I just
absolutely.
remember wanting to, hide when I ate, not wanting to show people I ate. It's like you
I was
almost,
there.
as a woman, you don't feel like you deserve to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. So beautiful. Well said. This is Adriana next. I'm struggling so much with carnivore. At first, I loved it and it squashed my sugar cravings. But then I become demotivated and longed for other foods. I'm not sure how to begin again.
So I'm assuming, Adriana, that you're not following it right now because you want to begin again.
I think so.
So you're struggling to begin again.
Hmm.
Um, so you loved it, and I'm wondering if you had how long you followed it, right? So it squashed your sugar cravings. So I'm assuming you did it for a little bit of a time. So being demotivated, I think a lot of things can demotivate us. Talking to other people sometimes can demotivate us. People
Oh,
telling
yeah.
us that it's not a good thing to do, whether it's a person that
Good.
knows anything about food or not. Sometimes it's a doctor. Sometimes it's a professional that tells us these things. So it gets in our head that we shouldn't be doing that, and it demotivates us. Also, if we cheat just a little bit, and I hate that word cheat, if we eat any carbohydrates or any sugars of any type, that will demotivate you without even thinking about it. You don't even know that you're demotivated. I
I
think of
agree.
it like, if you have for me, I can't have milk or cheese. Milk especially will bring on a craving like crazy, and I will just be minding my own business, and it's like someone's knocking on my door. "Hey, have this food.
Hmm.
Hey, you haven't had this food in a while. I think you should have it."
Right.
It calls out to you for no good reason. You
Hmm.
don't even have to be thinking about it. I'll give you an example. So my son and my daughter-in-law got married in September, and they got
Congrats.
married. Yeah, they got married at Cape Cod, and so we had a little bit of a drive, and the family all stayed together. So as we were driving down to Cape Cod, and there was a McDonald's on the way. So I said to my husband, "Hey, let's go in and get some quarter pounder patties." And he's like, "Okay." So you walk in. I walked in, no problem. He sat down. I ordered the patties. We went over, ate them. It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then we went to the wedding. So at the wedding, I had 2 glasses of wine. That's it. Everything else was on carnivore plan. I had the steak, I had everything. The only
Yeah.
difference, I had 2 glasses of wine. On the way back, we went through McDonald's again, and he got a seat. I went up and ordered the quarter pounder patties. Do you know what I noticed, Bella? The McFlurry sign above the cash register. Didn't notice it the first time. Did not notice that McFlurry sign. The second time I walked up and I went, "Oh, that looks good." Still,
Wow.
I didn't order it. I didn't order it. I ordered the quarter pounder patties. Then I sat down. I was like, "That is interesting." On the way there, when I was 100% on the program, did not notice the McFlurry sign. On the way back after 2 glasses of wine, it was 2 days before, by the way, 2 days before, 2 glasses of wine, and I went right back on it. I didn't have anything else. I noticed the McFlurry sign. So this is what's happening, is when people are eating off the carnivore program,
Mm-hmm.
they're getting this little infiltration of cravings that are just coming from the environment somewhere, but we don't notice them. When we are eating carnivore diet, we don't notice these little triggers. We're just kind of like immune to them.
So true. Oh my gosh. I love that you said that because that voice, so I refer to the sugar craving voice as a voice because it really is a voice. And sometimes it will be right up in your ear as if
Yeah,
it was just whispering right there. And other times it will be very distant, sometimes completely gone. The voice
right.
is just disappears. And so Adriana actually shared some more details for you. And she said she was carnivore for about a month.
Wow.
And yeah. And then my tummy seemed to flatten, but then my birthday came about and I had cake. Fell off the
Oh,
wagon. Yeah,
oh,
fell off. And now I'm lost and now yo yo dieting.
oh, Adriana, I just feel for you because that's culture. We're told we need to eat a cake or else we don't have a birthday. It's like and my birthday's coming up in June. I'm turning 60, and I don't
You
no
look
everyone,
incredible.
no
Wow.
cake, please. No cake. Steak. Steak, not
Steak.
cake.
Yeah.
So this is yeah,
Mhm.
I feel for you, Adriana, because that's all it takes. That cake had to have been really, I'm assuming sweet, right? 'Cause cakes are. But
Yeah,
what that did is it caused a sugar craving that you once that happens, it's so very hard to get back on the wagon.
it is.
And so you've got to start from step 1 because right now you're like, I don't know, do I want to do this crazy diet? Do I not want to do this crazy diet? So every day, well, maybe I'll start at Monday, right? Because Monday's a good day to start a diet. I'm going to tell you, Adriana, don't wait till Monday. Do not wait till Monday. So what you might want to do is go keto,
Mhm.
low carbohydrate, high fat.
High fat.
Yeah, have
Yes.
some steaks. Go out for steak this weekend and don't get any sides. And
Yes,
just eat the steak. Stay away from alcohol. Alcohol is huge. It'll throw you off. Big,
exactly.
big, big time. And just eat, 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 eat.
I
Fat,
love that. Well said.
fatty meat. And keep a little carbs like vegetables if you must, just to make the transition easier. And then just plan every day. Okay, this day I'm going to give this up. This day I'm going to give this up. Because it's not really giving up. That's what people don't realize. It's not giving up, it's what you get. You
Mm.
get so much more in return.
Yeah.
You're not,
Yes.
I don't feel like I've given up anything. I have received gifts from this, and I receive them every single day.
Mm,
And I'm not special. There's nothing special about me, Bella. Everyone can do this. We all can do this.
yes. And it circles back to mindset. Again, mindset. So how do
Right.
you choose to view the situation of going carnivore? Do you choose to see it as, oh, I'm losing all of these delicious foods? Or, oh my gosh, I get to enjoy these gifts of health, mental clarity, good sleep. Who knows what's going to happen to Adriana when she gets to that magical 90-day point? So, Adriana, listen to Diane. I thought that was just a beautiful starter kit of how to go back to carnivore. Do it. If you need the transition, have the vegetables as the side to help you transition. You're welcome. Keep us posted, please. Eat the fat, Adriana, because here's my tip. I sound like a broken record, but just for our new viewers, every single time sugar cravings are asked on my live streams, in the comments of my videos, I always say, eat more fat. My fat of choice when I went from vegan to carnivore, stick of butter.
Yeah.
Just take it out the fridge, take a bite. I promise you the voice withers away. Do it every single time, and you really will be able to make that voice disappear. Ellie calls it the rebel voice. I love that.
Yeah.
Hope that helps. Yeah.
So the butter is huge. What I did with butter, because sometimes if eating a stick of butter from the refrigerator, sometimes it has that texture that people are not
I hear
familiar
it. Yep.
with.
Yep.
What I did is I chopped it up into little teeny teeny chunks. So little teeny like cut it into quarters lengthwise and then chop it all up so it's little teeny chunks. Put a little bit of salt on it and I put it in the freezer.
Yeah.
And so
Great.
then you go by and you take one little teeny chunk of it and you let it melt on your tongue. It's almost like ice cream. It's
It is.
really good. It's
It's
really good. That's what helped me to be able to eat it.
amazing. Yeah, the frozen butter is a really good hack for those who just cannot stomach that texture of butter, room temp, melted, or even from the fridge. And then another great tip is browned butter. If you just can't stomach the flavor of plain butter, even salted, have it browned. Brown butter gives it that gorgeous caramel aftertaste and flavor. Okay, so Spirit Junkie says, did Diane try sardine fasts for the higher ketones for brain?
Well, thank you for this question, Spirit Junkie. I love your name too. Um, I don't like sardines.
Oh,
I tried it. I tried it. I tried it.
yeah.
And like every once in a while, I try it again. Um, but I'm not a fan. And I wish I was. Maybe I'll try it again and I'll become a fan. Who knows? I'm hopeful. I'll try anything. But I think the last time because it was winter and I kind of cooked the sardines on the stove and it's wafted through the house, the smell wafted. It just stayed with me for days, and I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna give up these sardines for a minute." And, maybe this summer I'll sit on the deck and I'll have some sardines cold,
Cold.
but for now,
Yeah.
no.
I love that. Yeah, no, it's really interesting to bring up sardines with carnivores because I find the response is either extremely ew, ick, no way, or extreme love, extreme just
Right.
obsession with the flavor. So let me just ask all the viewers watching, comment it down below if you're watching the playback. Do you enjoy sardines? Yes or no?
And if you could give me some tips on how to enjoy them better, I would like
Yes.
that.
Yes, please share your guys' tips. Okay, let's keep going. All right. This is from Cheryl. The weirdest. I feel the worst after I eat and best when I don't eat. Going back to carnivore, explored it and was chastised from everybody. Makes it really hard. I eat ketovore and lots of eggs and bacon. Any thoughts?
So, okay, so she feels worst after she eats and
Hmm.
best when she doesn't eat.
Hmm.
She is now going back to
She's
carnivore?
now going back to carnivore.
Okay. So perhaps her body's telling her to do some fasts.
Maybe, for sure. Because she feels best when she doesn't eat. But I wonder what diet or what she was eating when she was feeling these weird feelings.
Right.
Because typically when you go carnivore or after you adapt to carnivore, you feel amazing while you're eating, after you're eating, when you're not eating, you just feel amazing all the time.
And
And
after you eat, you do feel amazing.
absolutely, just so
Yeah.
satiated and calm. So we
Right.
want Cheryl to get to that point. Um, Cheryl, again, like what Diane said earlier for Adriana, just start now. Don't wait until Monday. Do a
Right.
slow transition. You're already ketovore. Slowly transition out the veggies and the fruits or whatever you're eating that's not animal based. And keep us posted. This is the
Yeah.
best way to stay accountable is to come back to these live streams. Comment under Diane's videos.
So
Keep
I'm
her
wondering if
updated.
she feels bad after she eats a heavy carbohydrate meal, which that is a common thing.
Very
You
common.
you feel bloated and, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Let us know. Keep us posted. All right. This is Sofu Sangita. Hi, it's been close to 2 months into carnivore, but I still long for carbs.
mhm. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, I mean, is she around carbohydrates a lot? Is Are people in her house still eating carbohydrates?
Um,
That could be also causing cravings. And how clean is she, or he, I don't know, it could be he,
yeah,
eating, milk products? That would do it,
that's a good one. Yeah. Milk products like cream, even
mhm,
cheese,
right.
milk for sure can fuel those sugar cravings.
Even a little cream in your coffee can throw you off.
Exactly.
If you think you're not having it, it hides, you know?
It does. So, Sofu, if you're listening here, you can give us more details, but it again, I would like to just repeat eat more fat because that's
Mhm.
just the surest way and the most efficient way to kill those sugar voices is to just eat pure fat. Now, you don't have to eat sticks of butter. There are actually lots of different ways to up the fats and enjoy it. So you can do fatty sauces. I find works really well for the picky carnivores. What is a fatty sauce? For example, crack a raw egg yolk, put some melted ghee in there, put some hot sauce to add the flavor, and there you have a wonderful fatty sauce. There are
Mm,
so many healthy
delicious.
fats in that sauce. Yeah.
What
Dip
I
your
do
meats in it.
is I
Yeah,
go
go
to
ahead.
my butcher and I ask for, the trimmings, the fat trimmings,
That's
and my
also
butcher, I get them free. They don't even put a price on them.
oh,
They just send them
really?
through. Yeah,
Lucky you.
yeah. So I get home and I cut them into little teeny chunks and I put them in the air fryer and put a little salt on it. It's really, really good. That's,
So good.
sometimes I'll put, like, if I have a lean sirloin with not a lot of fat, I'll put some little fatty chunks with it, and so it ups the fat. But
Mm,
I have made them and kept them in the refrigerator and just eaten those, as a snack. They're really
yes.
good.
So with the beef fat trimmings, I think there's a couple ways to request it from your butcher shop. You can either literally say the words, "Do you have any leftover beef fat trimmings?" Or you can just say, "Do you have any suet?" And typically both of these types of fat, suet and beef fat trimmings, they are either free, like in Diane's case, or they are only 1.99 per pound, sometimes
Right.
99 cents per pound. It's such a great way to get your fats in and save money. And if you can't stomach it raw, which is actually my preferred way to eat it, it's so delicious. You can air fry it and it turns into this crispy, crunchy fat snack. So air fry it at your hottest temperature for 15 to 20 minutes until it becomes crispy. And there you go. So that's the last question we can do today. I would love for you to wrap up, Diane, with how people can find you, how they can work with you, and anything that you would like to announce, share with the community.
So you can find me at Boston Carnivore dash Diane Ladd, and that's my YouTube channel. And, if you wanna work with me, I mean, if you send me a message, I'd be happy to talk to you. Um, I'm more than happy to talk to anybody who wants to start the carnivore diet or is having difficulty, continuing or starting the carnivore diet.
Mm,
Or if you know someone in your family, a good friend, I've had a lot of messages like this, that have MS, and that perhaps you're a carnivore and you've been talking to somebody about this and they're kind of rejecting you, or not rejecting you, but rejecting the diet, please give them, a link to my channel, and
Exactly.
that might help. That might help. So, I mean, I'm open. I'm open to working with anyone. If you want to work with me, just let me know.
And you said to message you, which platform is best to message you?
Well, if you, I think on YouTube you can get my
Okay.
email, right? From
Okay.
YouTube. So if you get my email from YouTube, you can send me a message, and I'll get back to you right away.
Perfect. So I have gone ahead and linked Diane's channel at the bottom in the description box. So please click open the description box if you're not seeing it. Once it opens, you will be able to just tap and click on Diane's channel there. Let me quickly answer this. Bella, what air fryer do you recommend? The link is in the live chat. It's the Tasty brand. Love it. Use it every single day. So efficient. All right, let's all put a big thank you to Diane in the live chat and in the comments. Diane, thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you, Bella. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been fun too. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm glad. My pleasure. Thank you guys for joining. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right.